G'day guys, how's everyone doing today? I hope you're all doing well. Here are some inside stories of Tom Brady. Fair warning though, there are a couple stories from Heath Evans that isn't too favourable. However, I found it to be rather interesting and gave insight into the Patriot way, and that way has certainly shaped Brady to be who he is today.
By the way, Brady gets it then in meetings from Belichick.
Everybody gets it.
Really?
Yeah. Now, there's just, I remember it was '07. We smoked the team by like 50 points. And Bill comes in and he's mouthing off at Brady about something, I'm trying to remember how it started, but he's like, if you weren't so worried about you and Giselle's next GQ magazine, maybe, just maybe you wouldn't have thrown that interception. What is this, Christmas? It's October, Brady. Christmas come early or something? I can go somewhere for Foxborough High and get someone to throw that ball better than you. Like, so we're just like going at him, you know?
God.
Now, here's the thing about people don't realize all the people that come out, like the Marsh, Cassius Marsh, these losers that come in there like, oh, the place is no fun, yada, yada, yada. Man, when you're a winner in your heart, there's no better place to play. There's no more fun because we're all dying.
Yeah.
I mean, when he's getting on Brady, you got McGinnis over there, you got Brewski, Vrabel, all my old boys that were there,
all
laughing because Brady's getting it. Now, Brady's pissed as can be because Bill's going in his chest. You know?
Yeah.
Now, you knew it was coming, and if it was like a Monday morning meeting after a game that you knew we had won, but you knew there was like probably two plays.
Mistakes, yeah.
Oh, Lord, no.
He doesn't miss anything.
All hellfire and brimstone's coming at you, and that's just what it was. And so he would go through, we'd call them low-light reel meetings because like most teachers, most coaches have highlight reel. No. We don't have those in New England. You got low-light reels.
Do you remember getting it?
What?
Yeah.
I had this great game when I first got there. He comes in and throws on the field, or on the film, and I had caught a ball, spun, made the first guy miss, made an open field move, made a second guy miss, turned 10, 12 yards out of like what should have been a 2 or 3 yard catch.
Yeah.
Hey, Gail Sayers, I brought you here for your physical toughness. Who do you think you are? I don't ever want to see this again. It was a 12-yard. Like I had made a great play, and all he was trying to do was trying to ingrain in my mind. Hey, listen, you're here to beat people down. When you get the ball in your hands, I want you to physically impose your will because we have other backs that can do what you just did. So your piece of the puzzle is you beat people down when you have the ball in your hand, and then we've got Kevin Falk, we've got Corey Dillon, we've got others to kind of do the dance and stuff.
Yeah, quit your dance moves, kid.
But I'm like, oh man, you see those sweet moves? Big boy dancing. Nah, I'm like, oh man.
And no one else really does that, right? Like no other coach would be
not
like
that.
Not like that.
Because like Sean Payton will get in everybody. I mean, I loved my 2 years in New Orleans. Obviously won my ring there and everything else, but he's never going to rip Drew Brees that way, you know?
No way.
But there's also very few superstars that can take that type of, humbling process about, are you trying to get better or do you think you've arrived? The problem is most people think they've arrived and they don't want that type of coaching. They're too thin-skinned. They're too sissified. They're too just whatever, and they don't want to be great. You don't last there if you don't want to be great.
Even though that sounds pretty harsh, it shows the level of mental toughness you have to last that long at the Patriots. And of course, Brady has that. It definitely made him tougher. It honed his competitive nature to produce results. Because anyone can say they're competitive. Anyone can say, I'm really, really competitive. But that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't equate to results. Brady's willingness to do all the boring things, the unglamorous, the uncelebrated things that no one sees day in and day out in order to win, that's one of the things that makes him special. How many players are willing to do that?
There is the reality of a guy like Tom Brady who has not only stuck around for as long as he has, but he's done it at the highest level. Now, you can read the cookbooks, you can read all the self-healing things that he does, but at the end of the day, Tom Brady is one of the most competitive people on planet Earth. You can sum it all up by saying that whatever he has to do, he's going to do it. And in reality, most of us on planet Earth, we like to sleep in every now and then. We like to indulge with, whatever it is, ice cream or some dessert. Tommy doesn't do any of that. So you got to give, respect where it's due. He's earned it, and there's a reason why he's as good as he is, because he wants it.
it's also got to be good that you've got a quarterback that's been there and done that 6 times, having to defend something like that. How much has Brady been, I guess, preaching the same gospel as you on page turning, Bruce Arians?
Yeah, he's been fantastic, Rich. I mean, he and Gronk, JPP, I mean, they've all been there. We've got about 6 or 7 coaches who have all won Super Bowls. So it's, just keep beating everybody in the head. And, again, our guys, when they turn on film, they know what work looks like. And we have not had any problem with the work.
And what's Brady been like? Just give me a good example of what he's been like right now compared to the year before, and what you need in terms of a quarterback to lead the charge for a title defense, Bruce Arians.
Yeah, it's light years difference. I mean, this year he knows what the words mean when he's calling plays, and last year at this time he barely did. And so yeah, I mean, he's so much more comfortable in his skin and everything that we're doing. Coming to work, the facility, everything that he did for 20 years was different last year. This year, it's the same old stuff. So he can really. I never knew Tom was such a great guy with young players, but he's a fantastic guy with young players.
How so? Can you give me an example, please, Bruce Arians?
Yeah, I mean, veteran players or young players, coaches, hey, you're not pumping your arms coming out of your brakes, man. Your arms are going dead as soon as your head turns around. And they say, oh, yeah, coach, cool. And then Tom goes, hey, man, I need your arms to pump, and you're coming out of that break because I'm going to throw the ball out in front of you. And okay, Tom, I'll do it. Next thing you do, they do it. I was like, I've been trying to tell you to do that shit for a month now. So now it's just like, hey, Tom, can you tell this guy to go do this for me? And it gets done.
And you're like, come on, I'm the coach. Like, I've been, I used to be hanging around Bear Bryant, for crying out loud. You ever see?
These guys don't even know who that is.
I bet. Oh, my gosh.
Now, Bill, drafted Brady because he knew he was a mental monster. He knew physically, you're kind of lacking Brady, but we can probably do something with his mind and arm, And now we've seen what he can do 20 years later.
You've been here long enough now where you've probably gotten somewhat acclimated, but what do you think of Tampa Bay?
We've had a great experience. We've been here for about 18 months. So we live on the water. Never had a chance to do that in the Northeast. So living on the bay has been beautiful. The sun's amazing. Be out here, the weather and the lifestyle. And it's really, I was saying earlier, it's a really close community of people. So once I kind of got my bearings about me, where I was at, it's been really fun for our family. So we're really enjoying it.
We're learning more and more about Tom Brady's cheat meals and workout program and things that keep his body going on the football field at 43 years old. TB12's trainer and body coach Alex Guerrero telling People magazine that Brady's diet is mainly plant-based, but contrary to popular belief, he does have cheat meals. Saying, quote, although he puts a lot of greens on his plate, Tom has adopted more flexibility generally to find harmony and balance with his food. We believe in variety. If he wants pizza, he'll eat it. He just wants it to be a really good slice, and he doesn't do it that often.
When I interviewed Gronk a few weeks ago, he said he loves that nobody really bothers him. He stops at a barber shop, gets his hair cut. I can't see you doing that, but do you find you don't get bothered either?
It's really nice. I think there's such a, in Boston where I was, it's very sports centric. Here is as well, but in a different way too. And I think there's a lot of other activities for people to do. So, even when you're driving around, there's so many other people out bike riding, rollerblading, they have their dogs, people are on kayaks, people are paddle boarding, they're boating. So I think there's just a lot of different activities going on. So people aren't always focused, on kind of, where we're at. So it's been nice for me to live in a neighborhood and to have my kids ride bikes and feel like we're really safe and protected.
In there, somewhere deep in there, you can barely see it, but Tom Brady, maybe you can see a little bit of Tom Brady. He's in there, I promise. We were teammates. So this is what it's like to actually see what Tom Brady kind of looks like from about 10 feet away through a lot of people and metal. It's really, really pretty exciting. Tom, 17 years ago, what's up, man?
What's up? Former Patriot.
There you go. Hey, 17 years ago, you guys beat the Rams in the Super Bowl. You feel like your career's kind of come full circle in some way?
I mean, it's been a long time since that game. I mean, they had a great team then. They have a great team now. Obviously they moved from St. Louis to L.A. And but they got a great team, well coached, just like they were back then. They got a great offense, just like back then. They've got great defensive players, just like back then. So in some ways, our team's a little bit different. You know, I think we have a different level of maturity, but you know, I'm hoping that we can play our best game. We needed it against that team. We'll need it against this team. This is the biggest challenge we've had all year.
A little bit more on Brady. I've got Bruce Arians here on the Rich Eisen Show because you were on. I'm trying to think. It was around just after Thanksgiving on this show. You were on just after Thanksgiving, and I asked you when you think Brady was going to have the full grasp of the offense, and you said maybe next spring. And then you won the Super Bowl anyway. But that does now we're in the next summer. We're in the next fall. And how does Brady, having a year under his belt offensively, with all of that knowledge, neck up, chest, with that heart beating inside, how that will actually manifest itself, do you think, in the 2021 season?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. I mean, it's great. And, you know, he hates losing. So we had a 2-minute drill about 3 weeks ago, and the defense stopped him on 4th and 5. And, you know, he threw his helmet. He kicked the ball across the other field. He was so pissed. And so that fire burns, man. I mean, I've never seen it. It doesn't burn that hot in some young players, yet alone a guy's 44. But he's been amazing, and every single day, just what he brings to practice, his competitive fire. Like I said, I never have to say, hey, you guys ain't practicing hard enough, offensively especially with him, but defensively with Levante and Shaq and JPP and Sue and those guys, they stay after it.
This last clip is more about Randy Moss. I'm a huge fan of Randy Moss. Unfortunately, there's not many clips that YouTube will allow me to show with stories of Brady and Randy together. But this next clip is just about Randy, and I thought it was interesting to hear Heath tell it. It's not completely flattering, but it gives a little insight into Randy.
I remember that it might have been so maybe the year that you were there, I'm not sure, or the year that you guys went 18-1. Is that the year that he had like 50 touchdown passes and Moss had like 29?
All kinds of records.
So I remember that the following year, I might have some details of this off, but Moss had insane numbers. And the next year, just like week 3 or something, he said something in the press about like either catches or contract or something. And the next week he was gone. And you're like, what?
It took a little bit longer than that, but yeah, I mean, and I always want to praise Randy because Randy came in 2007,
yeah,
and helped our team. Is a brilliant football player, one of the smartest players I've ever played with, and worked hard. But you always see different wounds in people. Like, and you look at someone's history and their upbringing, and you're like, okay, now I see why they move and react that way. I see why they respond to authority that way. I see why they can get so easily offended, you know. And so I love Randy. I mean, he was a great teammate, great man, great father. He's just an awesome dude. But he got offended over about his contract price, and it kind of let him boil up in his heart. And then, you know, before too long, he was gone.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what's so unique about the Patriots too, is that they'll be like,
it doesn't matter who you are.
We'll just let you go.
Because like I always explain it like this: are you going to let one cancer cell start floating around in your body? Not a chance. If you know it's there, you're going to go kill that thing, and you're going to do whatever because you know one is going to become 75.
Right.
And that's the way a team works.
That's
people don't treat the team mentality that way. So like, I don't care if you're a Fortune 500 company. My buddy owns Top Golf. You know, it's a $5 billion business. There's a lot of the same thought process of like, I don't care if it's the HR person in the office in New York. Like, it's going to eventually affect the office in Seattle.
So
like
get rid of
our process of thinking, like we don't tolerate me personalities. We don't tolerate, you know, what about my stats? We don't tolerate, you know, pride. We don't tolerate anything other than what's best for the team.
Did anything surprise you about Tampa? I heard you in the last interview say you hadn't spent much time here.
Yeah. I'd say whatever surprised me has been in a really good way. You know, I thought it would be hot, but it is. But I love the heat. You know, I realized growing up in California, I hadn't been there in 25 years, and now that we're living down here full time, it makes a big impact on your day. Just some of the outdoor stuff, you know, going for a walk with my dogs, you know, at night. You know, going golfing in January, February, March. So many of those things we didn't get a chance to do. So now I'm really enjoying those things.
And the family, the kids, they like it?
They're having a great time.
They
Yeah,
are?
wife loves it. You know, she doesn't know ultimately where she wants to be, but she certainly loves Tampa. And I do too. I think there's a lot more to explore for us also. And I think the proximity to Orlando, to go to Disney World has been fun for our kids. To go over to Clearwater and the beaches has been fun. So there's just a lot to see. And we've only been here a short period of time.
That's true.
Thank you as always for watching. Please like and subscribe for more Tom Brady videos.